Plus Sports and Plus TV Africa. Welcome on the show. Okay, too many things happened yesterday and the day before. We need to stress something. But I never thought that Juve would lose like that to Chelsea. I still thought that PSG would at least make something happen.
Well, for the Juve match, I think I kind of saw it coming because the momentum Chelsea were bringing into the game.
Yeah.
The inconsistencies in Juve's game in the league. And as for the PSG game, I would say we got about as much as we expected.
We'll talk about that later because you were mentioning the fact that this guy has so many stars in his team. Is it like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer who can use them? We'll talk about that later. Now, the Super Eagles are expected to camp in Nigeria ahead of the 2021 African Cup of Nations, barring any last-minute decision. Gernot Rohr has revealed. Now, Rohr hopes to begin camping on December 28th. Nigeria have been drawn alongside Egypt, Guinea-Bissau, and Sudan in Group D. The Eagles will face Egypt in their opening game on January 11th in Garoua, with Nigeria winning their most recent encounter, a 1-0 win in a friendly in 2019. Now, Rohr, whose future as coach of the team remains in doubt, despite steering the Eagles to the playoff round of the 2022 FIFA World Cup. Qualifiers also wants to play one friendly game before they depart for the tournament. He also hinted that he may not be there for the tournament. Rohr, who is currently being owed 2 months' salary by the Nigerian Football Federation, has recorded 28 wins, 13 draws, and 13 defeats in the 54 games he has been in charge of the team. Meanwhile, Rohr, who led the Eagles to win the bronze medal at the last edition of the AFCON, will be without his talisman, Victor Osimhen, for the tournament after he was ruled out of action for the next 3 months due to a facial injury. Now, Mukail, no reason has been given yet, but we all know that it's always been a jamboree for the Super Eagles. We're going to go for a major tournament, African Nations Cup. We'll go and camp in Australia, where the weather is totally different. We'll go and camp in England, and we're going to play a Nations Cup in Africa. It's always been like that. Some people have always tried to make money off that, those trips.
Yes.
For some reason, Nigeria have finally made up their minds to camp in Nigeria, a weather suitable to Cameroon's weather. Common sense. Why waste money?
Well, I wouldn't get my hopes up that this is about common sense. The truth is, if they're owing the manager 2 months' salary, if the state of affairs in the administration, in the NFF is so poor that they announced that Gernot Rohr was likely going to leave and he's still there, there's a good chance there's just no money to capitalize on them traveling for a prolonged period to camp and then come back for certain people to benefit off it. I would say it's just a lack of money, no resources to do it.
Wow. Now, Gernot Rohr doesn't know what tomorrow will bring as far as his job is concerned. And he wants to camp the Super Eagles. But the only saving grace this man has had, just like Solskjaer again, Ronaldo, has been Victor Osimhen. And he won't have Victor Osimhen for the Nations Cup, all things being equal.
Well, he's in basically the same predicament every Nigerian football lover has been in throughout the 5 years. We never knew what tomorrow would bring with Gernot Rohr. 28 games, 1 out of 54. That's about a difference of 52% win ratio. It's not been great, so he's just going through the motions. Now, with the Victor Osimhen, it shouldn't even be a major news. Sure,
exactly.
We know.
I thought that team was abound with strikers.
We are abound with strikers, and there are still strikers in Europe, in Germany, in the Belgium league that are wishing they could get into the Nigerian national team that haven't been able to do so just quite yet because of the competition that Victor Osimhen and Kelechi Iheanacho have kept them out with. Now, Victor Osimhen is out. This is a grand opportunity for any manager, whoever is in there, whether it's Gernot Rohr or whoever comes in after him, to pick someone from any of these leagues, or even come home and pick someone from the Nigerian league for balance.
Now, Liverpool managed. This is the kind of story that you read and you say, "Ouch, it hurts." Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp has hit back at criticism that he insulted the continent of Africa by labeling the African Cup of Nations a little tournament. Klopp was quoted to have called it a little competition in a previous press conference. However, the German denied any ill meaning, insisting there had been a mix-up of words. It came following the Reds' 2-0 victory at home to Porto in the UEFA Champions League, which maintained their 100% record in the group stages. That journalist was sounding very African, was all over Klopp like saying, you said the AFCON competition is a little tournament. And he said no. That what he meant was that, listen, in January there's going to be a little tournament, give or take. Why the word little? Did he have a right to say that? Or is he right to have said it? Is AFCON really a little tournament?
I guess
it's going to be hard.
I know as an African, I know as a Nigerian, I should be proud of our competition. But the truth is, the AFCON, it doesn't carry a candle to many of the European leagues, let alone the European competitions, let alone the World Cup. So in the grand scheme, the South American Confederations Cup is a little tournament compared to the Euros.
True.
So what's the difference between the Nigerian...
But this is a tournament where we have people like Victor Osimhen involved, Riyad Mahrez involved, Mo Salah involved.
And yet all of these nations that are going to be participating, none of them rise above 30 on the list of top nations, top footballing nations around the world. So is it really fair to criticize Klopp, a non-native English speaker, who, and irony is such a funny thing.
Are you taking sides with Klopp and saying he was misquoted, really?
No, I'm not saying he was misquoted. He said what he said, but sometimes you say things, and in the world that we live in now, words have more than one meaning. Sometimes a word has an opposite meaning to what it actually originally meant. The word a little, especially with rules like irony at play, metaphors are at play, and I think he was being figurative in calling it a little tournament because, and you know how he's jovial by nature.
Yeah.
Let's
forget, he's speaking English. He's actually German.
Yes.
He could have been misquoted, really.
I'm sure in the instance when he said those words, he had a bright smile, a wide smile on his face, with clearly an intention to be funny, not any intention to be malicious. And as Africans, we shouldn't take ourselves too seriously, where we've been around the block enough times, and we ourselves criticize the Nations Cup, but we get sensitive.
And I think the journalist, to my opinion, though, if you heard the questions, I think he was trying to push him to say, apologize.
And
he didn't think he was wrong.
I feel like the journalist forgot that his job was to be there as an impartial sports journalist, and he was being an advocate in the moment.
He wanted an apology. He didn't get it, though. Now, Manchester City have qualified for the knockout stages of the UEFA Champions League with a comeback 2-1 victory over Paris Saint-Germain at the Etihad Stadium. Now, after Kylian Mbappe had given the visitors the lead, Raheem Sterling and Gabriel Jesus struck for Guardiola's men, who will be looking to go one better after suffering defeat in last season's finals. City boss Guardiola was pleased that his side showed their true selves with an aggressive style, both with and without the ball. Jesus hailed Bernardo Silva for the superb pass that led its goal and believes the underrated Portuguese midfielder is one of the most informed players on the planet right now. Now, Gabriel Jesus says Bernardo Silva, as far as is concerned, one of the most talented footballers on earth as we speak.
Absolutely.
Because he did very well against Paris Saint-Germain, of course. Toby Ulishala, the producer, will help us show the results of yesterday's matches in the UEFA Champions League. And then let's discuss the PSG against Manchester City first off.
Yes.
How bad could it have gotten?
It could have gotten really bad.
And they scored first.
Yes, but the truth is it could have gone really bad in either direction. If Manchester City had just failed to turn up by another 10 to 20%, the PSG might have completely ridden that game. They scored first. There was plenty of opportunities. But I keep saying this, that the PSG team, it kind of reminds me of what happened with the first iteration of the El Galacticos. First of all, they bought a bunch of stars who came in and earned a lot of big money. But the homegrown players, plenty of youngsters, plenty of players who were bought from other Spanish clubs, didn't have the same wages, and there was an imbalance in the squad. But now at PSG, you have a bunch of 30-year-old stars. And
Angel Di Maria,
yes,
the rest of them, yeah.
Yes, and a lot of these stars, the older they get, the less they are able to take on board new tactical approaches to the game. And when you have a big pressure of having to start your big front three players every game. The last time Kylian Mbappe was left out of the squad, it nearly blew up in the face of the manager. Managers cannot bench him. He's a World Cup winner. Why would you? He's the best. He's one of the best players in the squad. So why would you bench him?
You can't bench Neymar. You can't bench Lionel Messi. Now, let me ask this question. So moving forward now, what is wrong with Borussia Dortmund?
Well, first of all,
what is wrong with them?
Their striker is out. It's always. It
can't be one man all the time to make the jump.
But it's advantageous to have a striker who can finish all the time. Every time we saw situations where a team that is star-studded but incapable of finishing the opportunities they create, we talk about it's the fact that they don't have a finishing striker. Yet, the funny thing about football is that when you create a bunch of chances, even if you're the dominant team throughout the game, when you create a bunch of chances and they don't seem to go in, it will come back to bite you. The other team will grow emboldened. The other team will learn to frustrate you. You will start to make mistakes. Defenders will start to get lax and lose concentration. And it only takes one moment of inspiration for the other team to hit you back.
Now, what is wrong with the Belgian league? Club Brugge lose woefully. Club Brugge, who beats people like this in the Champions League last 16?
Well, Club Brugge, you mean in the group stages?
Yeah, going to the last 16.
Yes.
Nobody should lose like this.
Well, the Club Brugge are not on the level of any of the major teams.
Well, come on, Leipzig.
They would have been better off facing the likes of Inter Milan, Sporting, Porto, Ajax, Besiktas, or Sheriff. But those are not the teams they're mostly facing. They're facing the likes of Manchester City, Leipzig. And Leipzig are no small fish. Not in the Bundesliga, not in Champions League.
Okay, now some drama going down. At a point, we heard it was Zinedine Zidane. Then we heard it was Mauricio Pochettino. Then it was Ten Hag at a point, the Ajax coach. Then later we heard Brendan Rodgers. But he's come out. Now, Leicester City manager Brendan Rodgers sought to put an end to speculations linking him with a potential switch to Manchester United, saying that he was committed to developing his team at the King Power Stadium. Rodgers had been linked with a vacant role at United after Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was sacked over the weekend, with former player and assistant Michael Carrick in charge until they appoint an interim manager. Leicester sit 12th in the league after an underwhelming start to the season.
I don't actually take it as anything.
Is this a case of feeling important, really? Because if there was a long list of potential coaches for Man United, Brendan was way back down the list.
Not necessarily. I think he's top 3 at best, but he is a realistic option. There's been talks of him taking over from Pep Guardiola in Manchester City, which is a lot of resources, a lot of responsibility, and huge shoes to fill. So why not the Manchester United job? There are very few good coaches available right now.
Well, he says Leicester City is a project for him. He's still working on it.
Yes. The truth is, Leicester City have somewhere they want to be. And unfortunately, you know, the antecedent of this whole thing has left a bad taste in the mouth of a lot of good managers who have come through the halls of Manchester United. Moyes is a very good manager. No matter what you think of his period in Manchester United, he was great at Everton. He's been great at West Ham. The Manchester United sojourn was the only blip in his career. Mourinho of Van Gaal came in and we saw how the team played. It seemed like he lacked ideas, even though he's typically very well respected in the game. Mourinho, a tactical master who people have accused of being way too defensive, but being very good at organizing a defense, couldn't seem to get the defense to work well and keep goals out. Now Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who bred a team spirit, the Manchester United way of doing things, now he's gone as well. So what does it say? Because the fact is, when Chelsea change managers spontaneously in the middle of the season because of 5 bad results, people query how well that can work long term, but it keeps working. Liverpool went through a period where they were out of the top 4 for a long time, but they dug deep, they did their research, and they brought in a new manager, a new team, a new types of scouting. Everything was put in place. The problem at Manchester United has been the Manchester United blueprint. They haven't figured out how to go forward post Ferguson.
Before we go on the show today, Kendall Coyne Schofield never wanted to be a figure skater. Instead, she adored hours spent playing shiny hockey with her older brother, but found herself in a pair of figure skates at age 3 with the rest of the girls at the local ice rink. Now, Kendall Coyne Schofield hopes to inspire female athletes. Coyne Schofield is also gunning for a spot at the Beijing Games. She has been training with other hopefuls for Team USA. Team USA is hoping to end Canada's winning streak. The Olympics kick off on February the 4th.
Have attitudes shifted?
So we'll leave you with that. Thank you, Mikhail. Join us same time tomorrow, same station, Plus Sports and Plus TV Africa. My name is Wally Scott. Like I always advise you at the end of every show, if not for anything, at least for your heart, do some sports.